Today we're talking to Swyft. This is a brand that's doing over £30 million every single year. They're growing like gangbusters and they've just opened their first store. Now on paper, from their application, this is a brand that is doing everything right on the marketing front. And we're joined by their founder and CEO, Keiran, to have a fantastic conversation around all things marketing and growth. Let's get into it. Welcome to Grow with Evergreen, the podcast for home, garden and lifestyle brands who really know their stuff. Each episode features honest conversations with established brands around the real challenges they face as they grow. This is a practical, experience-led discussion for businesses already doing serious revenue and looking to make smarter marketing decisions as they scale. Let's get into it. Right, welcome back, beautiful people. I hope everyone is doing well. We are going to have a fantastic conversation today.
I cannot wait.
This will be great. We've got Keiran on, Keiran Hewkin, who is the founder and CEO of Swyft. As many of you will know, Swyft, even some of our team have some of their products, some of their sofas and whatnot. So really great guest to have on, and we'll bring Keiran on very shortly. And do you know what? I was fascinated reading their application because this is a brand that looks like they're doing everything right. Yeah. They're doing everything right in terms of thinking omni-channel.
That's it.
It's a beautiful thing. So we'll get into that and you can read through that in a second. But what I thought we'd do something a bit different today, Darren, if you're up for it. And that is, bear in mind the time that this episode will come out, which will be early in the new year. 2026 is going to be upon us. Happy Christmas, New Year for everyone that would have passed by now. It would be ancient history. But what I thought we'd do, just because it's something we've been doing in the office, and I've been talking to lots of prospective clients and obviously our existing clients about future trends, about what is in the zeitgeist, what are people thinking about when it comes to marketing, what are the, it's that time of the year at the moment, time of corner where everyone's making their predictions, what's going to happen, what's going to happen next year. And I've noted down a handful of things that I think are going to happen based on what we're seeing and speaking to the team and this thing. So I'll throw them out there.
Well, you sprung it upon me, Aaron, but I'm sure I can come up with something to add to this conversation.
I did tell him about 2 minutes before we came on air. I was like, I'm going to talk about future trends. He was like, what? So right, okay. So I'm going to run through them quickly. So the first thing, and this comes mainly from Matt, who's our head of strategy, Andromeda. So Andromeda, what is that if you don't know? That is the new algorithm update from Meta. They first started talking about it last year, so back into 24. It officially became sort of to life in middle of this year, 2025. And essentially what it means for those of you watching is now from a targeting perspective with Meta, it's all about creative. So the creative is going to be key. So one of my sort of predictions, we're already seeing it, but I think it's just going to increase tenfold, is that the creative variety that you feed into your ads and the need for creative iteration on a much higher frequency is just going to go up and up and up. We're already seeing it. We're iterating the creative so much quicker and it's getting really great results than we were a year ago. And I think that is a trend that's going to continue. So I think with Andromeda, I think the need for more and more creative. So if you're a brand watching this and you are thinking, well, what creative do we have in-house? What do we outsource? Be prepared to go if you want to grow, you're going to need to do even more of that.
That's what I like to hear.
There you go. So you're not going to be short of work next year. I think so here's another one. This is a little bit, people are, maybe not. I think one of the other things, AI search. So now you've got ChatGPT. Yes. You've got, obviously everyone's using AI more and more for search. I mean, obviously you've now got the AI overviews in Google and Bing and stuff like that. Well, but I think all of that I think that we're going to start to see that get monetized next year. Yeah. I think in a big way. I think we've had, we've had that, we've been lured in, we've been suckered into AI this and it can provide all the results.
Now they're going to be relying on it.
100%.
And it's going to be monetized. Yeah, you want to keep doing this.
Yeah. OpenAI, I think we're going to see a real shift of this all being money. Okay, it's going to very quickly become pay to play. They've hooked us in, now they're going to make us pay for it. So I think there's that. One that's close to your heart, short form video.
Yes.
I think we're already seeing this again for our clients, what we're doing for ourselves. I think short form, those fun stop creative that just captures that attention. I think that's going to just absolutely continue to dominate.
So I've actually got a couple of predictions myself that are all to do with video. So while we're on the topic, I thought I would just throw them in. So there are a couple of things, and I think mainly my predictions for next year are confirmations of what we've started to see more this year. It's going to continue the trend that we're already seeing, I think. I think there are a couple of factors that people need to really, really focus in on when doing video, particularly for the marketing. So the first one is, I think your videos need to work with no audio. So, because I think a lot of videos out there are great. But then when you unmute them, you go, "Oh, I didn't know there was all that talking happening." Because I think it's more important than ever to make sure that the video is fully understandable without audio. Because 85% of people aren't listening to the audio.
That's a good point.
So if you've got a voice line in there, voiceover, make sure there's a subtitle track on there.
Of course,
and just make sure that the video in itself without audio is fully understandable. I think, as you've already said, shorter the better.
Yes.
It needs to be short. It needs to get that idea across. Absolutely no longer than 60 seconds.
But most of ours are sub 15, right? Sub 12. They're
we're
really,
around
really
that 12,
quick.
15 second mark. And you can absolutely say everything you need to say in that time.
And also cut out a recurring theme we've done more and more of this year has been just, we can cut it, we can cut it, we can cut it down, get to the point, just get the key thing across in the shortest possible way.
And then I think probably what's potentially going to be one of the biggest factors, and we have noticed this in our clients and even in ourselves, is tailoring your video to your platform. Like that is more important now than ever before.
I would absolutely agree with that.
Because, I mean, so less than a third of people are willing to rotate their phone to watch something. And so if you are putting something in there that needs to be landscape, and you're posting it in portrait but it's sideways, or even if you're posting it in landscape and then you're asking you to press that little button to do the full screen, that's more than most people are willing to do.
And it just doesn't look, and you're absolutely right, because it just doesn't look right. And it's where people are trying to create that do that content once and then go, well, we can multi-purpose it across all these platforms. But and we're seeing more and more, and we've got like some internal things that we see from brands where we'll capture it and we'll record it, and it just as a and then we reach out and say, hey, it's not right, like we can fix it. But we're seeing a lot of that, even established brands that like really established brands that are still, and you can tell it's where they're repurposing it across multiple platforms 100%. And all these platforms, it just doesn't, you've got such limited boundary boxes now, haven't you? You've got such limited area for it to be as performance optimally as it can. You've got, it needs to be, and also the type of content and the message and 100%. The narrative. Making it really bespoke, which is more work, particularly when you have to then work. You have to then iterate and churn it out that much more frequently.
Ultimately, if you're doing less work to try and get away from doing more work, and then you're getting no results from it, then there's no point
exactly.
in doing that. And I think this actually goes back to what we were saying on a previous episode, where I mentioned about the different phases of the internet in terms of content, and how we're entering that new phase where the only way to stand out now is to really put the work in and actually make things that are wildly better and different from what so many other people are doing, because it's become so easy to be in the game. It's now it's so difficult to stand out.
100%. Attention span is the hardest thing to capture. So you're right, I think, but that whole thing, creative and then video, and it's just per platform that is a trend that we're seeing across all of our brands. Is just, it's so important. It's how you're going to stand out. It's how you're going to capture attention. The other couple of things to add, that these are just sort of future prediction things that hopefully you're thinking about, or maybe it's going to get you thinking about. So I think we're going to see, not just next year, but I think over the next few years, we're going to see a real resurgence in what I've called the sort of the bricks and clicks model. What I mean by this is, and it's exactly what Swyft are actually doing, is you've got your online side of your business, great, but actually, coupling that or complementing that with physical locations, an ability to build that sense of community, bring your customers, your audience together, I think is going to become, because people in a world of increasing amounts of AI and what's real and what's fake and what can I believe and what don't I believe, I think real human interaction, I think we as I just think generally we're going to just crave that and want to physically get together, want to go to a store, touch the product, feel the product, sit on it, that sort of stuff. I think it's going to become more and more. I think we're going to see a real renaissance back into that. And then the last one is that omni-channel mix, which is exactly what Keiran put in his application, is not looking at any one channel. And the amount of businesses that I speak to, and the majority of these are turning many millions, and they'll look at their channels in isolation and they'll go, well, Google's not working as well as it did, or Meta is, we're too reliant on Meta, or email is our key driver of nurturing and driving increased revenue, whatever it might be. But actually looking at it more, okay, it's hard to judge the success or failure of any one platform because they all play a role. They all play a role in keeping our brand, omnipresent. So there you go. So I think just to recap, social, I think it's just creative to leverage Andromeda. AI, let's wait and see if I'm right. I think it's going to get monetized a lot next year. Short form video, I think physical stores, that bricks and clicks model, and then omnichannel marketing. They're my predictions. There you go. We almost need a little jingle to wrap that up. Yeah. I don't think we've got one, but maybe Archie can put one in there.
There's one playing right now.
Oh, there it is.
Yes,
you can hear it.
Wonderful.
There you go. Well done, Archie, for putting that in.
Great job, Archie.
Right. Before we bring Keiran on, because I want to get him on, I want to get into their story of Swyft. Before we do that, do you want to just quickly rattle through
I will.
Just set the scene for us.
Now, this is incredibly well written, this application. And now, so we always ask all of our guests that come on the podcasts to answer a couple of questions before they come on so that we can have an idea of where to steer the episode.
Yep.
So I'll go through these now. So we always ask, how would you describe your business in one sentence? And I love how simple this is. Furniture made easy.
Beautiful. Lovely. Yep, perfect.
We always ask their approximate annual revenue, and Keiran has said 32 million.
There you go.
Number of employees, he said about 70.
About 70 odd, yeah. Right, flexes, it goes up and down, but about 70, yeah.
Which marketing channels are you currently using? He says email, social media, press, OOH.
Out of home, yeah.
And Google Ads.
There you go, yeah. Bit of everything, lovely.
Now we get into the real meat and potatoes of this application, and we asked Keiran what is working best for their business right now, and he's written a wonderful bit of information here, which is just I love all of this. So he said, what's working best right now is that nothing is working in isolation. Their strongest results come from a fully integrated strategy where every channel feeds the next. Email, social, press, paid activity, and now OOH, they all work harder when they work together. The more consistent the message, the clearer the customer journey.
There you go. Beautiful.
That is just like music to my ears. He also talks about hyper-local multi-touch point campaigns for their bricks and mortar store in Angel, running bus and tube OOH, targeted Google Meta ads, email campaigns. It's no single channel could have achieved that alone. So that is fantastic. He talks about social that expands their audience and drives action. There's collaborative content on Instagram and TikTok, introducing them to new audiences. And not only is it boosting traffic, but it feeds their email list and ultimately drives sales. They, of course, talk about email, which is their backbone. It brings people in, does a lot of the heavy lifting. And it's still one of their most reliable revenue drivers because it talks directly to the customers with the right moment and the right message. And then finally, and I do love this one, clear, consistent storytelling. When every touch point reinforces their core promise, which is good design, fast delivery, and zero stress, it builds trust quickly. And that consistency is what's really moving the needle.
There you go. I mean, if you could pretty much summarize, the perfect sort of marketing mix, that's pretty much it.
Literally, just add to the end of that, doing everything right.
Yeah. I'll move on to the challenges, shall I?
Yeah.
So just run through challenges. The biggest, because we always ask, I always want to get a sense of there's going to be some real learnings in here from Keiran in terms of what they're doing at Swyft, and you've got a good sense of it there in terms of the approach they're taking. But like all brands have challenges. Mm-hmm. So what Kieran's noted here is the biggest challenge right now is navigating a market's fundamentally changed. Past patterns are not predicting the future. We know that. The customer behavior, it's volatile. It's up and down. Seasonal trends year over year, it's very hard to predict. Retail environment is tough. Furniture, as you know, is high consideration purchase. We're still in a cost of living. The industry is feeling the pressure. Customers taking longer to decide. They have to work much harder across every channel to earn that trust and stay top of mind. So it's an unpredictable market. What's worked previously is not working now. And it means they're having to, even now at their size, with all that they're doing right, they're still having to take smart risks. Yeah. They're still having to, speculate, to accumulate, to look at, okay, what's working, what not, and try and experiment with different things. There is no blueprint. There is, and I think that there really is your takeaway. There's your soundbite. There is no blueprint now. There is no, you can't just go, well, we've always done that, so surely this is going to work. You can't do that. Balancing that authenticity with that shrinking attention span, which feeds into what we were saying about the need for creative.
You've got to be more. You've got to be smarter and smarter at getting your brand across in an authentic way, but in a tiny amount of time.
Because Keiran notes on it, he says, people want integrity, that personal connection, which feeds into what I was saying about the bricks and clicks model. Mm-hmm. From brands at the same time. The attention span is teeny tiny, in terms of you've got only a seconds to make
in the first 3 seconds.
Yeah. And then it's that complexity across channels. It's such a varied mix that it's, how do you get everything working together? And it's that, I love that old, it's from decades ago, isn't it? I forget who said it, but it's half of your marketing works. You just don't know which half. Yeah. So you have to keep doing it. I love it. And then there's various things. We don't have to read through all the rest of it, but there's various bits on here that he wants to talk about exploring. We can just go through that as we get into the episode because we've got to bring Keiran on. Let's bring him on. He's been in the wings long enough, and let's get into this conversation. Keiran, are you there, my friend?
I think so. Can you guys hear me?
There you go. You are. You're coming through loud and clear. Thank you so much for joining us. Do you want to just quickly introduce yourself, who you are? Swyft, over to you.
Thanks. Keiran, founder and CEO of Swyft. I'd like to describe my entrepreneurial journey, and Swyft is the only business I founded that hasn't failed yet. So multiple time founder. I come from what I call grown-up businesses like petrochemicals, oil and gas, and all the where proper things and proper industry happen. Fell into furniture and fell in love with it, and thought, this is where I want to spend some time, and how hard can it be? Turns out incredibly hard. And like I guess all of these cool stories, if I knew what I know now, I probably wouldn't have ever started, but I'm here now and on the plank and walked out. So this is where we're at.
I love that. I love how honest that is. So just expand upon that. Just paint a picture. How was Swyft born? Just go back to the origin. Just talk us through that process. What happened?
Yeah, so I was working at a London-based bespoke furniture company. I'd got out of heavy industry and wanted to move to London to drink beer with my mates in my 20s, like we all do, and took basically any production job I can get, and it was either food or bespoke furniture, and I didn't want to go home smelling like food, so I thought furniture will be a good match. And it was when I was a production planner for that company, and I was looking at the work time to actually make a sofa, and I just thought, why do you wait 8 weeks when it takes 8 hours? This is nuts. Sure. You can drive a brand new Range Rover off of a forecourt, the day you buy it, but you've got to wait 8 weeks for a sofa. It just didn't make sense to me. So I sat down with a designer friend at the time, who's now our design director, John. He's a great guy, still with us, and just asked him a question. I was like, if I had to get a sofa to someone next day, how would we design it? And we went back from that, and that was our North Star from the start. Work to solve a logistical problem and then build a business around that. And that's kind of how it started, and we just couldn't get the idea out of our heads. It took about 3 years from that point to actually launching Swyft. We needed, capacity, we needed a factory, we needed a customer base, a brand. It took years to get all that going, but it was all off that one question. If we had to get it to someone tomorrow, how would you do it?
Wow. I mean, the best ideas are often the simplest, right? So when was that? What was the timeline on this? When was that?
That was probably 2017, 2016. Okay. And then we launched Swyft in 2019. So there was a period in the middle there where I ran my own company selling bespoke furniture and lighting. That kind of got me some capital together, got me a factory. That was a bootstrap job. I didn't have the money to launch a brand, so kind of started an adjacent business that in the same space, and then launched Swyft December 2019. Very quickly realized it was going to be a success. Originally, we planned to sell the supply chain solution to other furniture brands. They all told me that there was no need for a fast sofa. No one wants it. People are happy to wait. It won't catch on. And that just really pissed me off. So I was like, all right, well, I'll launch the brand myself then, and haven't looked back since. But it's because the established order that they don't want to undercut their own business model. Why would they? They're sat on everyone's cash. Like, I get it. So we just had to do it ourselves, and that's why when we started Swyft, December 2019. So
I mean, that's trial by fire. If you think that in terms of then you're straight into COVID, which I suppose must have had that would have been a good thing for you. Everyone's at home.
Yeah, absolutely. It was challenging from a supply chain point of view, and we manufactured our own products, so like looking after our people in the factory was hard. But I can't deny, like over the period of COVID, like it absolutely plays into where Swyft is today. And it's an important point. Marketing, and you guys do a great intro on the importance of marketing and being present and doing all the right things. But sometimes, like, you just need a good slice of luck. But
sure,
you can earn that by staying in the game for as long as possible, and you earn that luck by just hanging around sometimes. And it was great for us. We grew really fast. 2 million year one, 12 million year three, or something like that. So it was a huge jump. Yeah.
How did you? And so I'm just curious. So to go back to that first year, you did a couple of million. At what point? What was the biggest sort of growth challenges to go from that to scale from that? I mean, even for most brands, sort of doing 2 million in your first year, like that in itself, like what was the biggest learnings and things you had to figure out in that first year, and then to go from that to catapult it into like an 8-figure business over the next couple of years beyond there? What was some? Just cast your mind back to that period. What was that like?
Stressful. It was stressful. I think the hardest part of it is accepting that that's going to be your growth curve, because it's very easy to just be, pessimistic and say, "Oh, that won't happen. It's hockey stick. We're in a physical goods business. Let's play it safer." But when you're buying stuff on a 9 month lead time and you have a big long supply chain, and all the demand indicators are showing you that every time we put a container of sofas live on the website in COVID, it was selling out the same day. And then we build another container, and as soon as it was put online, it would sell out. Accepting that we were going to have to take a punt on this and place huge orders for we placed raw material orders that were bigger than our annual turnover, which is crazy. We're not building digital products here. These are physical products. Accepting that was the reality, and then being really pragmatic about, okay, well, if that's the reality, how do we execute against that plan? That was probably the hardest part. And then after that, it's just a case of, can you stand up? Yes. Can you hold an upholstery gun? Yes. Okay, brilliant. You're an upholsterer now. Stand on a bench and make a sofa.
Fair enough. I love it. Right, we're going to have to go so much deeper into it. But Darren is giving me the eyes that mean
ready to pounce.
Yeah, literally. So it means we're just going to pause briefly for paid media mystery. Let's do this. Come on.
That's right. It's time once again for everyone's favorite part of the show. I'm sure
it always gets delayed.
It's time for a paid media mystery, where I ask Aaron and our guest a paid media related question, and of course, it's always related to the guest we have on, and of course, it's always a multiple choice answer, so you can play along at home. Today, our question, paid media mystery, Swyft edition. Is which ad format is most likely to stop scroll and increase purchase intent for sofas? So your answers are A, static product shots, B, long form written reviews, C, short vertical videos showing real home transformations, or D, carousel of color swatches. So again, which ad format is most likely to stop scroll and increase purchase intent for sofas? Is it static product shots, long-form written reviews, short vertical videos, or carousels of color swatches?
Keiran, what do you reckon, as our resident expert?
God, I've got to better get this right.
No pressure.
Short vertical videos.
Okay, was that C?
That was C.
Okay, I'm going A. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to go. It's just about keep it simple.
Okay. Yeah. The correct answer is C.
Oh,
short vertical videos.
There you go. See, he knows his stuff.
Get my job for another day.
Yeah. Shoppers are 3 times more likely to buy after watching short form video content.
That ties into what we were saying at the top.
There you go.
There you go, Keiran. There you go. Well done, my man. Excellent stuff. Love that.
That's our paid media mystery.
Right, come on then. So, talk to me about, just on what we were just saying then, about you're having to, bet the house on it pretty much in terms of buying all the stock. You've still got to deal with that massive lead time. Did you get funding? How did you actually do that in a physical, in reality?
Yeah, so it was bootstrapped for the start. Like, we funded it from the other business that I started and used the kind of adjacency. Quickly after that, we got some funding through a venture debt firm, which injected money into the business to kind of make the working capital cycle a bit more palatable. They funded the business right through till about 2 years ago. And we also had investments from Channel 4 Ventures to do some media investment that we essentially turned into ad credits on the Channel 4 network for a TV ad, which was a nice kind of boost and a little bit different. So yeah, those two partners took us through that initial growth curve up to 20 million or so of turnover.
Yeah, nice. So you had, in terms of when you invest £1 into the stock, how long before you see that back? If you factor in your how long it's on the water and so
on. It's pretty quick for us now. So we turn our inventory, our upholstery inventory, we turned in the first 4 years, we were turning it about 30 times a year. So if we would invest £1 into stock, we'd get it back within 45 days.
Yep. Nice. Very nice. So the marketing then, because to bring us all skip forward all the way to today, you clearly taken an omni-channel approach. Who's spearheading that? Whose brainchild is that? Is that yourself? Have you got an absolute, whiz in the wings?
Yeah, we do. We have Lottie, who is our marketing director. She's been with the business for 5 years. Recently took over the reins. Well, not even that recently, a year and a bit ago. Took over the whole department. So we're a very in-house business and in-house first. So we haven't had an agency on it for a while. So Lottie heads all that up internally. She's got a team of about 12 people reporting into her.
So, but was it? Where did it come from? Because that sort of omni-channel approach, where you've sort of gone, we're going to be doing all of these different things, is somewhat unusual. I think a lot of brands, they tend to hedge their bets and they go, we're going to go all in on, they're quite siloed in their marketing approach. Not every day do I speak to brands. I speak to quite a few brands that are doing 10, 15, 20, 25 million. And often we've had guests on this podcast where they're doing 20, 25 million, but they are hugely reliant on 1 or 2 channels. And that brings with it risks, that brings challenges. Whereas you seem to be a little bit more, robustly structured.
Yeah, it's been relatively recent. We were pretty much a pure play Google, Facebook up till about 15, 16 million in turnover. And we started to see that the impact of that was really declining.
Yeah.
But, from very early on, we were extremely lucky that we got in with John Lewis. They took us as a branded product in their stores. So we very quickly could see how that benefited the areas within a radius of their stores. And
were you nationwide with them? Were you nationwide?
Yeah, nationwide. We went into like 15 stores. I'll give full credit to Lynn, who is our head of wholesale accounts. She managed to land us that account in like year 1.
Wow.
And they took a punt on us because our delivery proposition was different.
Okay.
And yeah, that was fantastic. That then just immediately showed us that our website performs better in a radius of a shop, and therefore, if if that impacts customer thinking, then out of home must also impact customer thinking, and print advertisement must impact customer thinking, and you can just never be sure exactly where that first or second touch point needs to be. So it was kind of built into us from an early stage that, not everything happens on our laptops.
Sure. Yeah, and I think if more brands sort of were mindful of that, I think it could be, they could grow that much more quickly. When you were first in that first year, then getting into John Lewis, because that's a real coup, for that's going to give you a real sort of step up. Was it your proposition from a delivery standpoint, even the product itself? Was there anyone doing this back in, sort of 2019, 2020? Was anyone? Did you have any real competitors, or not so much?
There was a competitor called Snug who had a very similar concept as a sofa in a box. They had one model. We kind of diversified our range quite quickly into different styles and shapes. Snug kind of went with the play. Well, from the outside, it seemed they went more with the play that there was like one sofa to solve them all, and I never really bought that because until starting Swyft, I didn't know two people with the same sofa. So,
Sure.
sample size of one, I thought that can't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that'll do. So there wasn't anyone else really, and there still isn't. The competitors, each of them have played around and got a sofa in a box, but it's kind of a nod to it. It's like someone sat there at a board meeting and got a kicking because Swift's eating their lunch, and they said, "Fine, we'll launch a sofa in a box," and they've stuck it on a shop floor somewhere in deepest, darkest Peru and said, "We're trying."
Yeah. Interesting. So, and are you from now? You're still in John Lewis?
Yeah. They're still our national retail partner, our only national retail partner. We're in their stores still. They've just taken our dining sets. Dining furniture is a big part of our business now, and hard furniture. We're not just sofas, and they've taken that on, and that's going great guns too. So yeah, they're a great partner for us.
Fantastic. So what's catapulted? What's the reason then, if we come right the way forward to today, you've just in the last few weeks opened your first store in Angel. What's the thinking behind that?
Well, I mean, it feels right, firstly, which is a horrible thing to have to. It's an unhelpful thing to say, but sometimes, that's what you've got. Like, it feels like the right place. We've always had these stores and these independent stores, and Angel's always been a postcode that does very well for us. That N1 postcode. I've always wanted a store. It's the most requested thing on all our live chat, on our phone calls. If you take a swatch from Swyft, or you're in our pipeline, like, you will get a phone call from us as part of that buying journey. You will get an email. Well, the number one thing people ask us is, apart from how quickly can I get it, is where can I see your stuff? So, we needed to do it eventually. Angel was the right location in terms of the data. We found a shop that felt on brand, and we pulled the trigger on it, and it's been a great success. We got the store turned around in 6 days from getting the keys to opening.
Wow.
So very proud of that one. So shout out to
that's
Ben
incredible.
for that.
That's incredible. So, okay, there's just so much here that I want to unpack, but I'm just trying to. So you've got that. So is the plan to open more stores then, or what are you? I suppose early days to tell, but what does the sort of the future look like?
Yeah, so the plan will be to open more stores. We've had an extremely successful launch. We've blasted our expectations out of the water from what we set beforehand. We think we've already proved incrementality. There are some nice other halo effects that we're seeing within the data in terms of lower returns, higher customer retention, higher AOV, that we always thought if we get those, that'll be a nice added bonus,
Sure.
but they are not the reason for opening. So, all of these things are pointing towards a real appetite for more stores. It was ridiculous, actually. On the opening weekend, I opened the shop on the Sunday, and there were people queuing outside, which was a real pinch me moment.
I bet.
This journey of entrepreneurship's hard enough most of the time, but that was one of those moments where I thought, I think we might have done the right thing here.
That's so good. I love it. So you run this business by yourself? What's the team look like? Like, who's around you on that journey with you?
Yeah, well, I've got two great business partners who came in after the venture capital guys left.
Sure.
They're industry veterans. They are in the space, so they're a great support. They've been involved for just over a year and a bit now, which is great because they love furniture as much as I do, so it's nice to be out of the venture capital world and into like furniture dog territory.
Sure.
In the team, we've got our design director, John, who's been with us since the start. The handwriting of all our designs is very important to us, and it's got his kind of fingerprints all over it. I've mentioned Lottie, who heads up marketing. I've got a commercial director, Ben, who's responsible for the store and the sales teams. And Mike, James, and Rich on the ops, finance, and tech side of it as well. And again, the whole team, has been with for over 4+ years, all of them individually. So we're a stable leadership unit.
Yeah, nice, very nice. So the marketing challenges then. Let's move on to that, because I thought you summarized really well the realities that you're facing, and that is going to be echoed up and down these beautiful aisles of ours, in as much as, the past is absolutely not predicting the future, and it is tough out there. From a retail standpoint, it is tough. So just expand on that, if you will. What are you guys seeing? Because obviously you're doing a lot right. It sounds like the stores have been open with a bit of a bang, but more generally, it's tough out there.
Yeah, it's really tough, and I think the difficulty is not to. One of the things to try not to do is get too obsessed over a single channel or metric that is going in one way or the other, and just look at it holistically. You don't make money based on whether Meta is doing well or Google's doing well. You make money based on whether you've spent a, a manageable amount of marketing as a percentage of your sales.
Yeah,
And if you remember that, then everything else is not actually that important. You can't pay salaries with page views. So, just focus on the overall marketing spend. Is it driving enough interest? And look at it holistically. So when I look at it, I look at we've just finished November. It's a great November for us.
yep.
The team did a fantastic job. Our digital channels, we spent 30-40% up year over year, and we managed to keep the efficiency exactly the same year over year.
Nice.
And the overall cost of marketing was to the percent exactly the same year over year, but it was a completely different mix to achieve that.
Sure.
We had out of home, we had tube, we had the store, we had direct mail, which is doing really well for us.
Nice.
And you just
Lovely.
think like all of these things are targeting people and behaviors rather than just focusing on channels. It's not about, can I get 1 million impressions on Meta? It's about, can I get 30 people today to decide to buy a Swyft sofa because they're moving home? And you focus on that behavior of moving home, or having a baby or whatever. How do I reach them at that moment in time? And asking the question that way around seems to work for us.
So what are you using as your North Star then, in as much as to be able to look at these various levers you're pulling? What are you using to, to aggregate the data, or are you not? How are you calculating that? How are you working that out?
P&L, just marketing as a cost of goods sold,
Okay. We're
is
literally looking at
the
it like
one.
that.
Exactly, because I my team are bored of me saying this, but you can't outrun your unit economics. There are plenty of big bust businesses that got over
Sure.
their skis in this
Yep.
industry. Everything has to be first time purchase profitable. So we know there's a ceiling to how much we can spend overall on marketing before
Nice.
eventually we run out of money. So that's the first bit. And then after that, I like to take brand search as a really good approximation of how well everything's working.
Yep.
Brand search and how that's changing and developing gives me a good idea of how out of home's performing and how Meta's performing versus Google.
Yep. Do you bid on brand,
Do we bid?
or do you leave it as organic?
No, we do bid on it. We do bid on it. Yeah,
You own.
We've tried it on and off and on and off. But what we find is when there's lots of offline marketing
Yep.
that's generating less high intent brand searches, it helps to be paid to get yourself to the top of the list, because not all brand searches are equal. So I think the kind of blanket rule of brand search isn't profitable is maybe true if you're only spending on digital, but once you get off of that, your brand searches need a little bit more help of a hand holding once they search for you.
Yeah, I'd completely agree with that. It's a very rare day, if ever, where we would advocate not bidding on brand, because done well, it's gonna, as you say, it's gonna help to just ensure that as a brand you own the SERP, so you own that search results page. You could be as prominent, feature as prominently as possible. So yeah, completely agree on that. Very interesting. So in terms of what practical things are you doing then to overcome the challenges that the market more generally is presenting you to? You obviously I love the fact that you're looking at it just from a total in, total out, being judged by the P&L rather than going to specific on this platform or that platform or this week or that week or this metric or that metric. So there's your key takeaway for everyone listening and watching in. If you're not doing that and you're getting too fixated on the platform metrics, maybe think on.
It's a great way for CMOs to push back on CFOs at board meetings as well. Chuck the marketing as a percentage of sales back at them.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly that. Exactly. And it's exactly the way when we're looking at strategy for our clients, it's exactly how we approach it, is we just turn around and say, look, year over year, quarter on quarter, it's going to change. But what is the total in, total out? What percentage can the business afford from a marketing perspective to invest in acquiring a customer? Now, you mentioned obviously you need that first purchase to be profitable, which for a lot of businesses that is the case. For some businesses, they can actually go, do you know what, break even's fine, or even a little bit of a loss leader because we'll make it up on the lifetime value. Is that not so much the case for you guys, or what is your sort of second and your repeat rate?
So our repeat rate is actually high for furniture. It's about 30%, which is amazing.
That is amazing.
Testament to the quality of our product and our delivery service. So our repeat rate is high, but yeah, we focus on first order profitability because, simply put, like it's 7 years, but on average between people buying a high ticket homeware item, you spend something like 80% of the UK spend on furniture is within 12 months of a move date when you move house. And after that, like, you're competing for the 20%. So, we can't justify leaving that money invested in a customer for them to come back in 7 years' time.
Yeah. What is the repeat rate when someone buys? If they're gonna buy, say, do you see it within 90 days, 180 days?
No, it's more than that. It's more than 180 days. So the 30% repeat rate is like from the whole long tail of all time.
Oh wow. Okay, fine. Okay.
So it's about 22% within 12 months. So like it's long and it's unpredictable, and the second purchase isn't always as valuable as the first. In fact, it rarely is. So it's kind of like an inverted LTV. Whereas, like, I know in fashion and things, you get like if someone buys a pair of socks and then comes back for a suit jacket, that's very different. But in furniture, it's like they'll come and buy the big ticket thing, and they'll put off a coffee table or something till a bit later when their finances have rebounded, and they'll come back and buy something smaller. So it doesn't make sense. And furniture's very exposed to the wider market because we're so tied to housing and indirectly, therefore, interest rates. So if you leave all that money tied up, invested in a database who then doesn't come back, you can get caught short pretty quick.
Makes sense. So across all the marketing channels that you're using now, if you had to think about compare this year to maybe last year or the last couple of years, what would you say you're doing more of than you were doing a year or so ago? And what are you doing less of if you compare to the last couple of years?
So I'd say we're doing more and more video content. So our shoots that we do, we run the shoots pretty much every month, and I'd say they've gone from being 50-50 video to imagery to almost being exclusively for video capture now. So we're doing more of that. We're doing more out of home. We're doing more direct mail, so more physical, getting things into people's hands.
Nice.
And we're doing less YouTube, actually.
Interesting.
I pushed for a big YouTube test this year. My team will tell you it was a learning lesson, a lesson learned, I think is a polite way to put it. Did not go well, so hold my hands up for that one.
Was it more brand awareness that you were doing on YouTube? What sort of stuff were you?
It was more kind of like brand awareness, brand lifts, and
still localized, but it still didn't. Was it localized or more general?
It was localized to A/B tests, and we still, it was there. We saw a lift, but it never came through as revenue. And to go back to not being able to pay salaries with page views, it's one of my views. It has to convert eventually.
That's a nice little phrase. That I like that. So Google, Meta, all your classics, your big, but they remain key pillars.
Yeah, absolutely. Pinterest, we do about the same as year over year. We've tried also new that we've added in is a bit on Rightmove, a bit on Reddit. And we've pulled back a bit on like product specific meta ads. We've now focused more on lifestyle or solution orientated ads that kind of present the brand and our delivery proposition rather than like, here's a product that you might like.
Yeah, I love that.
You're preaching to the choir right now.
Good.
And that
Good.
It ties into what you said is about, you as a brand. I know you're really focused on building that genuine connection with the customer. That is something you're really focused on. So what are you, is it just that, that creative piece? Is there anything else? Do you want to expand on that? What are you doing to really ensure that as a brand you stand out, that you're building that connection with the customer, so that when they need this, they need some furniture, they think of you guys and not someone else?
Yeah, so I think it's hard for us as a small business to get that kind of top of mind space that someone like DFS would occupy.
Sure.
In the UK, like everyone knows DFS. They're like 50 something percent of the market. They can afford to be top of mind. So for us, it's really about making sure as soon as someone's in market that we have a chance at being top of mind. So
Yep.
we're very behavior driven. As soon as we think someone's in market, we then try and get as much of that share of wallet for that 12-month period as possible. And we do that by trying to be everywhere all the time for them at that moment. So we appear more than we are. So you're going to get a flyer before you move, a flyer after you move. If you take a swatch from us, you will get a phone call. We will talk you through the process. It's a big ticket item. We want you to be able to trust us.
Yeah.
And that we try and stand out that way, is that like, well, when you're in the mood for this type of product, that like you can trust us more than everyone else. And that's kind of our approach. Does that answer the question? Sorry.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, it does.
It
It absolutely does. And I think it brings me on to talk about the content side. So obviously you mentioned, quite a bit of the offline stuff, which again, not all brands are doing that. And it's something we talk about regularly on the pod is, that don't just rely on the digital channels, but actually what else could you be doing? Physical stuff, physically getting brochures into people's hands. I love that. I think that not everyone's doing that. Sending stuff in the post. Now you can have the store as well. It just gives you so many more avenues to market, to get in front of your customers. But on the digital content, obviously you're doing more creative, shorter form stuff. How else are you optimizing your website and your socials, and what else are you doing on those to stand out?
Well, from a website point of view, we've overhauled loads this year. We've had a great year in terms of our development. We've added add-on sales. We've added lots of different. So on PDPs, we've added video into PDPs. Like, I'm a massive fan of video when it comes to high ticket items.
Yep.
I don't think you can avoid it. So video on PDPs, add-on sales on PDPs. That's made a huge difference for us.
And is that a this year thing? Is that this year you've done that?
Yeah, it's this year, like, which is crazy, right? That it took us this long to get to, but for various reasons, it was always on the list of things we wanted to get to. But that's really lifted our performance year over year. It's lifted our AOV as well. We can see that we can see a conversion lift, and then from the add-ons we can see an AOV lift on top of that. So that's really important for us, and being able to get more stuff to the customer in one go is really important when shipping is as expensive as it is, which is for big heavy items.
Sure.
That is the case.
Yeah.
So that's made a big difference for us from a website point of view. Yeah.
As the just for those, the PDP is product for the product pages essentially. Yeah. So is this across all products now? Have you rolled this out?
We've rolled it out across the ones where we have the video, which is like our best sellers. So we pretty much covered 80% of our revenue with the videos we've got, and the tail, it doesn't get video investment unless it.
And did you see that
into the top
pretty
20.
Much as soon as you sort of, because I'm just watching some of them now, and they're simple. Just this is how you use the product, which is beautiful. It just answers those questions people are going to have. You see that uplift straight away.
Yeah, it was immediate. Yeah, I think we paused the A/B test after about 2 days. We're like, this is. And some things don't really need testing. They're intuitively, you just know them to be true, right? Like, you're spending 1,500 quid. If you can see a video, you get a feel for quality that you can't through still images.
I completely agree. And that is I say it's a simple, but it's a genius move. And it's just making it easier for the customer. And I think a lot of people, the reason I asked that question is because I think a lot of people think when it comes to, how they can improve their website, and, it's particularly if you're running ads and you're driving, you're out there, you're waving the flag, you're pushing the brand, you're putting money into your marketing, but actually not enough attention is spent by a lot of brands to actually just go and actually look at your website yourself, look at it through the eyes of your customer, and go to your product pages, go to, what you're actually asking the customer to do, and actually just look at it and go, are we giving them everything they need to be able to, answer those questions, to make it as easy as possible to buy the product? And I think doing that with like the videos and the walkthroughs, we're doing more of them on that, aren't we? That sort of stuff is just, sometimes we're using some AI to just bring the images or the products to life.
Yeah. It's about getting, it's almost about getting video in there however you can.
Yeah. And also, and human people as well.
Yeah.
It's that human, it's a lifestyle product. It's bringing that lifestyle. We're doing more and more of actually doing shoots to bring people.
People
with the product.
More and more, it's about people. It's about, it's thinking about your customer, not your product.
Yeah. But on the website as well as the ads.
Yes.
Because often but the point is that a lot of people go, we're going to, they think about it from an ad perspective. Okay, we want to do this, but actually, what's the website doing?
Yeah.
Because you need that continuity, you need that, to make it. So just bringing that to life is very simple, but just not everyone is thinking like that. Not everyone is going, actually, it's worth the time and effort to go into and make the website that much better.
A good way to get this loop, and we've had this since the start, is that we've got 7-day phone lines open. They're our own staff who answer them. We've got a live chat function, and it's our own staff that staff it. And the feedback that those guys give to the developers is, constant, and it's on Teams, and everyone can see it, and it's all out in the open. And the questions we get asked, like, you would never get that from sitting and looking at Hotjar or something.
Yeah.
You would never understand that. So, like, the radical takeaway for e-commerce is, like, talk to your customers, actually talk to them, maybe pick up the phone, or even better, if you've got a physical product, go on delivery and go into your customers' homes. Obviously, it's legal because you're delivering an item. Don't just go in there. But go into your customers' homes and see what else they have there and how are they using your product. And, like, you'll learn stuff that you never knew. Like, someone told me the other day that they like our Model 4 sofa because a robot vacuum can go underneath it. And I thought, I never thought of that as a USP.
Wow.
I could probably live till I was 1,000 and would never have thought of that. And you just don't get this stuff by just looking at the screen. And talk to your customer.
Well, yeah, it's true. And have you always done that then, in terms of this? The focus, you mentioned phone a number of times. Has that always been there that you've done as a way of building that rapport with the customer?
Yeah, always. It's been for like a day one in our kind of founding documents, was that we absolutely had to be wherever our customer was at that moment in time. We should be there. We should feel like omnipresent. Like, we're not going away until you buy a sofa from us and you're happy.
And
then we'll leave you in peace.
To enjoy the sofa, yeah. And what does that look like in practical terms then? Where are those guys based? How many people do you have doing that sort of stuff?
Sure. So on the outbound sales side, there's a team of 3. So they work shifts. So they cover from like 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. across 7 days. They're remote. So one's in north of England, one's in Northern Ireland, one's in Italy. So they do a fantastic job. And then sales, the customer service team, again, all remote. One of the privileges of starting in COVID was we became a remote first business, and we've stayed that way.
Okay.
So that's been a real advantage to us because you can just opt for talent rather than location.
Sure. I like that. Interesting. Okay. I want to move on and talk about AI for a moment. What are you guys doing? Because obviously you mentioned in the application that you're dabbling, you're doing various bits with it. It's woven into some of what you're doing, but you want to do more. So what's in your sort of mind's eye as you sort of look ahead to this year and next year? How do you think you're going to utilize AI? What are you already doing? What are you planning to do?
Well, what we're doing at the moment is, without sounding too downbeat on AI, because I think it's going to be game changing and revolutionary. However, I think at the moment it's allowing us to do tasks that we wouldn't have done because the ROI wasn't there before. So
Sure.
What do I mean by that? The long tail of product all has lifestyles now because we can create them for almost no marginal cost. and lifestyle images, sorry. So therefore, we can go and do that, put them onto the site. That helps lift conversion. Excuse me. So that's worked well. We are using AI for chatbots and for answering certain tickets and organizing workflows within customer service. It's working really well in certain use cases, and that's working well. So doing a good job there. I think it's less measurable how we're benefiting from AI in terms of the big platforms like Meta and Google. I think that, I listened into your guys' predictions for next year. I think that Meta is going to bring out some kind of full stack creative tools that are going to mean that ads can be built and deployed within platform without having to do anything offline. And that'll be very powerful. So I look forward to that and getting that done when they bring that out. And I think Google seem well positioned in terms of their AI at the moment, and using probably integrating stuff like Gmail and your YouTube into personalized AI search results.
Sure.
Will be really interesting to see as well. So there's plenty left to do, but I haven't yet seen a use case where I think, wow, this has replaced and revolutionized a core function in our business. It's allowed us to do more bits that we otherwise couldn't afford to. But yeah, I think it will continue to work up the value chain.
Yeah, I think that's a sentiment that we're seeing. Well, just generally, I think we're seeing a lot of that. There's a lot of noise about AI at the moment, and it's doing some very clever things, but it's not having a revolutionary impact, is it? In terms of the way in which things are being done.
It's exactly going into what I was saying before about the different stages of the internet.
Yeah,
because all AI is ultimately going to do is feed phase 2, and it's going to make more and more people able to do just what everyone else can do.
Sure.
And so I think where people stand out is either they do things themselves, which takes a lot of effort and a lot of time and all of that, and that's great, or it's those people who are going to figure out how to make AI stand out. Because I think there's two ways around that. And I know people who are using AI in an incredible way, who are way ahead of what other people are doing with AI, what most people do with AI.
Sure.
And maybe that is one way of standing out. We are getting into a really interesting part with AI where it's becoming indistinguishable. If you look at Google's Banana, I forget what it's called now, Nano Banana Pro, versus their last version, which was just Nano Banana.
Right.
It's honestly like it's crossed the boundary now.
Really?
There are pictures where you could show me that picture and not tell me, and I would not have any idea that it was AI.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's an.
The verdict's still out, isn't it? I think for a lot of businesses, they're using it, they're playing with it.
I'm not sold.
I think that's too many.
I think one thing that's for sure though is if it's universally available, it will get competed away. Like the advantage that it brings will be just competed away.
But that's exactly it. Because if everybody has it, then nobody has it.
Exactly that. Yeah. Exactly
Interesting. So what does the future look like? So where it's almost a cliche, but for the next few years, where are you taking this? More stores on the horizon? Is it what's the sort of the grand vision for Swyft in 5 years? What's it going to look like?
Yeah, definitely more stores. Hopefully the same brilliant product. More of that product. One of our best sellers in the end of this year, our best selling item this year, we didn't have last year, and the one that's our dining chair. So, we just launched a desk that has also done amazingly well. So, like breaking into these new categories with kind of category defining products will continue for us. More bricks and mortar for sure. We are operating in Ireland and Germany at the moment, so we're going to mature those markets, and we launched those this year. So next year is really about getting them, to be profitably growing and sustainable, which we are well on the way to do. So we'll continue that, and then just really hunker down on those priorities and just keep delivering that great product. I've got, hopefully, touch wood, a long time to build this business over the next couple of decades, and plan to do just that. Furniture's a slow burner. There are no shortcuts in it. I think we can build an enormously successful business that changes probably one of the oldest industries, I guess. Like, as soon as there was caves, there was places to sit.
Sure.
So, and we're going to do it over the long term by just being really disciplined and trying to put great product out there. And because we invest in inventory, that keeps us honest, because if it's not great, it's on us. So we can't
Yeah.
just put slop out. We can't just put
Yeah.
slop out and hope it
Yeah.
sells.
We're on that. I just want to pick up on that, because the product, you said you've brought this product down, it's become your bestseller, and you've just innovated this product, it's become a category, looking to become a category leader. Who's doing the product design? How involved are you in that process? And do you get to travel? Where's the product being made? Like, just how are you then coming up with and designing and that whole side of the business?
Yeah, so John O'Leary is our design director, so he is ultimately responsible for it all. I'm very involved still. It's a bit of the business that I love to do. I'd love to get involved in, so I'm involved in the MPD process and coming up with concepts and deciding which ones go forwards. I'm traveling on Monday out to our Asian factory partners to look at the garden furniture we've got launching next year, because summer in furniture land is a miserable time. So I want 2 peaks a year. So we'll launch garden, so we get November twice.
Yeah.
And I'm very involved in terms of like the quality, the feel. But John and his team do all the actual design work. We do it all in house. We don't outsource any of it. And the learning on it is, when like the products that have really worked, like we knew from the first minute we saw it on a SolidWorks drawing that this is the one for us.
Yeah.
And it's only when we try and convince ourselves to like something that we've invested time and money into is
Sure.
the only time it goes wrong. So
Yeah. And
hard learned lesson on trusting your gut.
What's your sort of hit rate, in as much as, how many new products do you aim to, come up with every year, for example? How many new products have you done this year?
So this year we've launched probably of our actual core products, rather than accessories like lightings
Yeah,
and rugs, which is
sure.
very different. Our core products, I'd say we've launched about 15.
And how many of those would you aim to be, as, you bring that many to market, how many would you aim to go, these are going to be, sticking around?
We just reviewed that, actually. I think 70% will become core products.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
and
really
on our
good.
sofas, which is our core business,
Sure.
obviously, our hit rate's even higher. So we're just about to look. We've just launched. We'll have 15 models by the end of January. We've only ever discontinued 2 of those 15. So
Wow. Well, shout out to
I'll
John
let
and
the
his
listeners
team,
do the
eh?
maths. Yeah,
Shout
shout
out
out to
to,
John and his
yeah,
team.
amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so how often do you go? Are you traveling? Are you on the road or in the air quite a bit then?
Yeah, I go to Asia, where our hard goods are made, probably 2 to 3 times a year. Our
Okay.
upholstery factory is in Poland, so that's a lot easier to get to. So I'm probably there about, again, half a dozen times a year. We're very hands-on product people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we're about. So
And when you first got those partners, how did they come to be? Did you get on a plane and go out there and source them, or how did they first, the Polish one and the Asian ones?
Well, the Polish one is a factory that my new business partners brought to the table. That's their core family business, so
Nice.
that was a no-brainer, and a fantastic factory. The Asian ones, we had a industry contact who called Molly, who runs a sourcing agency out there, and she did all the introductions and manages that part of the supply chain for us, which is really, really important. Like, you've got to have people on the ground that over the years know what a Swyft product is, what is acceptable, what isn't acceptable, and what's important for us.
Yeah, interesting. And did you say, in terms of where you're shipping your product at the moment, is it just UK at the moment?
UK, Germany, and Ireland.
UK, Germany, and Ireland, and plans to further expand?
Yes, we've always got plans for it. I think what we want to do over the next 6 to 12 months is just consolidate some of the growth. We've grown at nearly 40% this year, profitably,
Yeah,
but we need to, just like anything good, you got to kind of take
yeah.
a period of time just to grow into yourself a bit and right size the fit. So we're going to let those markets mature before we go into another one. But I'm sure by the end of next year we'll be launching in another territory.
Good stuff.
Well, by the end of this year, by the time it airs, right?
Well, exactly that. We're going to be into 2026. My goodness me! And do you know what's lovely is you can tell you genuinely love this. Like you can tell in the way you're talking about it. It's just such a passion, which is just so lovely because it's just. Oh, I could talk to you all day about it. It's just great.
Running Swyft is I'm very privileged, and I've said it before. Like, it's the honor of my professional life. I love what I do, so I'm very happy. I've got a great team.
Good man. I love it. I think we're going to have to end it there on that lovely note. Thank you so much for joining us, Keiran. It's honestly been a pleasure. We'll have to pop down. Aaron and I'll have to pop down to see you guys in Angel if you'll have us. I'd love to pop down and see the place. Should we do that? Should we get a date in the diary? I'd love to come down and just actually see the product sitting there. I'm not going to tell the team though. They'll all be wanting to come down and come and buy some more stuff.
Secret journey.
Yeah, literally. We'll have to keep it on the download. Right, Keiran, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck with the business. We will continue to be fans and customers. And loving what you're doing, mate. It's amazing. So congrats and best of luck for the future.
Thanks very much for having me.
There you go. That was Keiran. What a lovely chap. So if you are a fan of Swyft, you think, do you know what? Yeah, we're moving. We're thinking about moving. Go to swifthome.com. Their website's beautiful.
It is. It's really
it's a
nice.
Feast for the eyes. All of those products.
Yeah.
And I know Lou, our head of paid search, is an avid customer.
Yes, she is.
So there is some lovely stuff. I'm not going to show Harriet this because she'll be overhauling our entire house. So swifthome.com. Do check those guys out. For all of your furniture needs, that is a business that is, and there's an entrepreneur that he just gets it, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he just gets it. That if you could bottle that in terms of that mindset, that mentality, the total in, total out.
Yeah.
Look at the bigger picture. Not worry. That's one of the recurring themes that we get. Sometimes with our clients, we do sometimes have it, but particularly with businesses where we're speaking to them, and it's very much they'll come to us going, we want this to work, we need that to work, but actually, it's where I start all the conversations. I just turn around and go, well, let's talking about it's business before marketing, and then let's look at the overall business. Let's understand your business model, understand how the numbers stack up, what can we be investing into marketing, and then very much secondary. Oh, okay, well, where should we spend it? What does that need to look like? Where are we getting the return? But very much look at it as on a MER basis, an MER basis, and total in, total out. If you do it like that, it just simplifies it. Because the amount of time and energy that we see really people getting really focused on, well, this worked and then this didn't work. And if I compare oranges with apples, and it's just simplify the whole thing.
That's it.
Make your life so much easier.
I mean, you say it all the time, as you say. There's a reason why some of the Evergreen team actually have a bit of a tally going with the words that Aaron says.
Should we tell people that they did it? So the guys can all hear when I'm on. Well, you tell them, because you can hear me, can't you? When I'm on the phone.
It's mainly the creative team because we're in the office more than most.
Yeah.
And we hear Aaron on calls to prospects and other businesses, and he reiterates the same points so often, and it just goes to show that these people, a lot of people just don't. It's
like this conversation. It's the same sort of thing,
And so we started picking out a couple of words and phrases.
And what do you call this? What's this game called?
It's Aaron Bingo.
They've got a tally in the office, and you've all chosen various phrases that Are you losing? Who's winning at the moment?
I think Harriet is winning.
Well, she's my wife, so she should. But
if anyone's going to know what you're going to say,
Archie, Abby, you've all got your little like a bunch of phrases.
It just goes to show how often you're saying the same things to people.
It's that consistency of message, but also it's whether you're doing 30 odd million like these guys are doing, or you're doing 5 million, 10 million, 2 million. You're going to have, we all want more customers. We all need to get in front of them. For the most part, we're using the same kind of channels.
Yeah.
So it's like, actually, you've got the same challenges, the same opportunities. So the medicine to subscribe is largely the same. The execution of that, the delivery of it, different, going to vary. But the overarching theme and trend, is have a healthy marketing mix, be omnipresent, and look at total in, total out.
You might call it a good North Star.
Hey.
Just say that a couple more times in your calls, Aaron. It's definitely not one of my words.
North Star, there you go. Right, amazing. We're going to have to wrap this one here. Big thanks to Keiran for joining us. Thank you to you for tuning in and watching us. We're loving the pod. We've got some more amazing guests coming up, and really just want to have a real deep dive chat into what they're doing, how they've done it, to help you grow your business and do even better marketing. Thanks so much, and as ever, we'll see you on the next one. And if you haven't yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Make sure you do. You can find us on all your favourite players, and give this little video a cheeky like and comment, and we'll love you forever. Thanks so much. Take care.